There's a lot unfolding right now as Brian Hooker has been taken into custody in the Bahamas. Authorities say they had enough probable cause to make the arrest. I also spoke with Brian's attorney, who explained her version of the events leading up to his arrest and made several notable claims. Before diving into that, I want to mention an interview I recently conducted with Brian's stepdaughter. I asked her when she first began to feel that her mother's disappearance might be more than just an accident. She explained that at first she couldn't even process what was happening. She didn't immediately assume Brian was responsible. It took time for her to come to terms with the situation. However, due to past issues, she admitted it became difficult to confidently believe that he had no involvement. Carly Ellsworth, who lives in Michigan, is the biological daughter of Lynette Hooker and Brian Hooker's stepdaughter.
Now, before we go any further, Brian's attorney has denied that he had anything to do with the disappearance of his wife, and he also denies the allegations that Carly has been making about him in multiple interviews.
We're finally leaving Kima. I think we're gonna leave Kima, but it's only been 4 months.
Brian and Lynette have been living life at sea for years. They bought a sailboat named Soulmate roughly 3 years ago, and they live on that boat. They sail to some of the most picturesque beaches in the world, and they do this year-round.
Day 2 of crossing the Gulf of Mexico.
They share their travels on social media under the name The Sailing Hookers, with the tagline on TikTok, "We sailed away from BS, a married couple living their best life." This is a video that the Hookers posted to their YouTube channel about 4 weeks ago from the Bahamas, and they're paddleboarding down a waterway. Now, before I get to more of what Carly told me, we have learned more about where the Hookers specifically were Saturday night before everything went wrong. Brian told investigators, this is according to ABC News and some other media outlets, that he and Lynette left Elbow Key in the Bahamas on an 8.5-foot inflatable flat-bottom dinghy. It's perhaps the same one you see them in this picture that was on Lynette's Facebook. This boat, it has an off-board engine right on the back, and there's just not a lot of space. Typically on a dinghy like this, you might actually sit on the side. Now, Fox News reports the couple were at the Abaco Inn, and then the Hookers went out on this dinghy around 7:30 Saturday night. Brian told authorities that they were heading back to their boat, Soulmate, the big sailboat they own, and that's near Hopetown in the Bahamas, a little north of where they were. Now, the conditions on Saturday night, and this is a big part of the story, they were less than ideal. Winds were estimated to be as strong as 25 miles per hour. Brian claims that Lynette had the keys with her, and then she fell off of the dinghy into the water, and he couldn't save her. Did he say anything about, like, kind of in that moment, like what he did to try and find your mom?
He said that she was floating away, so he threw a life device at her, and then he started swimming or paddling to shore. So I don't know why he didn't drop anchor and look for her. That's the first thing I would have done, is go towards her, not away from her.
Brian told authorities that he paddled for hours to get to shore himself. He made it to a marina in Marsh Harbor, Bahamas, and once he reportedly got there, and it was Sunday morning at that point, he got in touch with someone who was able to call for help, and that's when the search, he says, for his wife Lynette began. Now, this is how his stepdaughter claims Brian broke the news to her. But, like, how did he tell you that this happened?
He called me. It was about 8:30 at night on Sunday, and he told me, "Hey, your mom's missing. It happened late last night, but we're gonna come up soon, so I hope to see you." And I was just like, okay. Like, I didn't say much because I was like, what? And then he was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I'm gonna search for her, bye," and then got off the phone quick. So I don't know, it was a little sketchy. So
it was as if he was going to come back to the US and just kind of like, hey, this just happened, and
but whatever, let's hang out when I come see you. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know, that just, it didn't sit right with me. It took him so long to even tell me that she was gone. So, and I don't know why he didn't go to his boat and call on the radio to other sailboats, "Hey, have you seen my wife? She's missing," because I know boaters would probably go out and help look.
It is unclear what Brian specifically did once he got to shore. Carly says that Brian later left this voicemail.
Hello, honey. I just got a call from Hopetown Search and Rescue, and they have found a flotation device that I threw to Mom when she fell overboard. And so they haven't found her yet, but they can now focus all of their efforts in a smaller area, and they're still out there searching today. So I just wanted to update you and let you know. I love you. I'll talk to you later.
When you hear that, like, what stood out to you?
Well, when he told me about my mom missing, he didn't have much emotion when he told me. It was very monotone and, hey, this happened, but now this voicemail seemed like he had a little bit more, like, urgency and emotion towards it. So, I don't know, I don't know.
What was when you read the headlines last night that he had been arrested? Like, what was that moment like for you?
I didn't like it because, again, he's been in part of my life for my whole life almost. And I don't want to believe someone I grew up with did this because I care about him. But sorry. But it just sucks that, like, two people that were so important in my life are now gone. They're not a text away anymore. Like, he could probably go for life if this turns out bad. And I don't want to believe that someone that close to me could do something like this.
Now, at the time of this recording, Brian Hooker has not been charged with the crime. I spoke to his attorney on the phone today, and she tells me in the Bahamas, an arrest like this, it's more like a detainment at this point. And in the announcement that authorities made on social media that Brian's been arrested, local police said they had probable cause that led them to make the arrest. It's unclear what evidence, if any at all, they have at this point. Now, Carly said that she learned about her stepdad's arrest through the news. Is there anything you've heard about what kind of evidence they may have against him at this point?
I think the only thing they have evidence of is just text messages stating past relationship issues, and just right now it's just like hearsay instead of actual proof. But I don't know if my grandma or my mom's friend has more proof because my mom never confided in me in relationship problems as much. So.
And for you, like, I read that you spoke with authorities as well. I think, once this story kind of broke, you were trying to get in touch with them. What have you told them, just as they've been inquiring about the relationship that your mom had to your stepdad?
So I just said that they have had a rocky relationship. I told the Coast Guard this when we talked, and I said the relationship has been rocky and it gets worse when they drink. So I'm just concerned that he made threats in the past. So I'm just trying to make sure that his anger didn't overtake him and he's done something that he can't undo. So I just want to make sure that it was just a freak accident before I think my suspicions are true.
Carly has made claims that the Hookers had a history of domestic violence, and we haven't found criminal cases related to the Hookers and those allegations.
It's important to emphasize that these are only allegations at this stage. Brian's attorney has issued a statement to several media outlets, stating that her client denies any wrongdoing, including the claims made by his stepdaughter. When asked how often she communicated with her mother while she was living at sea, she said it was quite frequent. Whenever her mother had internet access, especially after they installed Starlink on their boat in the Bahamas, they stayed in touch regularly. She shared that she would often turn to her mom for advice whenever she needed it. Her mother was even helping her plan for the future, including looking for an affordable apartment and supporting her in the process of possibly getting her own place.
Yeah, so she was always there for me whenever I needed it.
Was there anything recently, like, about their relationship that kind of stood out to you at this point, like now as you've been processing everything over the last couple of days?
Just, I wish I would have pay more I don't know what I could have done honestly here, but she sent me a voice message with her sounding very drunk at 11:30 at night, and she's like, I'll talk to you in the morning. I was like, oh, LOL, okay, Mom. And I just kind of didn't do anything about it, but I should have. I don't know. That was like a sign that yes, they've been drinking and it's a lot. And I know they were sober for about 1.5 years because they knew the problems that happen when they drink. So now that it's happening more, I'm just concerned that something did happen.
And I know on that Saturday night, I think authorities had said it was around like 7:30 that they went out on this dinghy. Like, do you think that they were drinking that night when, whatever happened, happened?
Yeah, I do believe they were drinking. They drink every time they're out at a bar. So I do believe that they were drinking. I don't have any definitive proof though, but maybe I could call the restaurant and look at cameras. But I haven't done that yet. It's hard to get in touch with anyone in the Bahamas.
Now, when I spoke to Brian's attorney today on the phone, her name is Terrell Butler, and she is based in the Bahamas. She claims that authorities may have somewhat tricked Brian into an interrogation. She told me that Wednesday night, her client was going to go out with another person on what she described as a search and rescue mission for Lynette. She didn't know who the other person was, but as he was planning to do that, the authorities, she says, asked Brian to come in for an interview. But she says that he was told that this wasn't an interview where he would need a lawyer and he wasn't a suspect in the case. This interview, she says police told him, was really just to get his help with the investigation and the search for his missing wife. Now, Butler claims that Brian was interviewed for more than 3 hours, and at the end of that interview, authorities put him under arrest. Now, Butler says in the Bahamas, authorities can hold someone without charges for up to 48 hours, and that can be extended to 96 hours as long as it includes an official suspect interview, which his attorney would be present for. Now, Brian's attorney told me that she was on Grand Bahama when we were talking on the phone, separate island from where Brian was with Lynette when all of this happened Saturday night. Brian was arrested on Abaco, smaller island, and his attorney says that Brian is being transferred to Grand Bahama. And when we were talking on the phone, she said that she was waiting on him to arrive there. In previous interviews with the media, Carly, Brian's stepdaughter, claimed that he allegedly made threats against her mom, and I asked her about that. What would she tell you about those kind of moments?
I have heard from other friends from hers that she stated that it's not safe to be with him, because when he gets angry, he can get scary and violent. I haven't seen him like full force hit anybody, but he does go for the neck and chokes. So, yeah.
And you've seen that?
I've witnessed him do it to his daughter before.
And as far as kind of their marriage, because like you look at their lives on social media and like it's kind of cliche to say it looked perfect, but they travel to these beautiful beaches and they're living on a boat and it seems like a very carefree like lifestyle, but like how would you characterize what their marriage was like?
I think they love doing adventures and they had fun times together, but I think there's just friction that builds up and unresolved issues pile on, and yeah, it just gets taken out when they drink.
Was your mom, would you say like she was happy in this marriage? Like did she want to stay continuing to live this life on a boat and living with Brian?
I think she wanted to be happy with him, but he can not make it easy sometimes. He knows how to push buttons. So I don't know. I think she wanted it to work really bad, but
I know that you have talked about having suspicions about his story and what he says happened on Saturday night. At what point, from when you're kind of processing the news of your mom, like at what point did you start to have those suspicions?
At first I couldn't even believe that this was a thing. And I didn't immediately say, oh, he did it. It took me a minute to like process everything, but It's just with previous issues, it's just hard to say that for sure he didn't do it.
Carly says the Coast Guard has now launched a criminal investigation, and she has already spoken with them. According to her, they were focused on gathering all the facts first, including whether there could be a financial motive behind her mother's disappearance. She explained that her parents were financially stable together, living off retirement funds, though her mom had plans to return to work in the future. While life insurance was briefly mentioned, nothing has been confirmed, and authorities have not verified any financial details. Meanwhile, Brian Hooker shared a statement on Facebook, claiming the incident was a tragic accident caused by rough weather in the Bahamas. He said Lynette fell from their boat, and despite his efforts, he couldn't save her. He also thanked rescue teams and said the search remains his top priority. As the story gains attention, Carly described her mother as a caring, adventurous woman who loved sailing and working with her hands. Despite the emotional pressure and media attention, Carly says she's staying strong, with help from her boyfriend, and is speaking out to keep focus on finding her mother. Authorities, including the U.S. Embassy, are now involved, but many questions remain unanswered. For now, Brian has not been charged and continues to deny all allegations,